something new. So the topic for today is then
disposables.
Not disposables.
Oh, okay.
This time not disposables.
I thought maybe
Vaping Worldwide, and we have here one from the US. We have someone here from Greek. What's going on in Greek currently?
Nothing's really changed as far as the laws are concerned. We're not seeing anything drastic like we've seen here in Germany. But what we're seeing worldwide is taxes, right? Not just in Germany. Other countries are starting to implement a tax structure that makes vaping more expensive than smoking. So that just goes to show you the trend is that more people are quitting smoking. So more governments are losing money. So the tax structure is obviously trying to be compensated by vaping. So I think worldwide, what we should be very aware is that there's deals being made in the back room somewhere in the government to eliminate our style of vaping. And we need to be very aware of that, and we need to take action now before it becomes a worldwide phenomenon.
And in the US?
In the US, it's very similar, right? There's taxes, there are flavor bans, there's negative anti-vaping propaganda everywhere. I'm amazed at how difficult they are making it so that people don't die from cigarettes. It's unbelievable.
I think one of the things that you'll see in America with, and Phil can attest to this industry will not stop. You know, people want to find different ways to deliver nicotine. What the government in America has done is basically create a black market. You cannot ban a product that has desire. Imagine in Germany they ban beer. It's not even possible, right? Right, this could be a huge problem. And the same thing in the United States. Every time that they try to ban something, you create a black market. So you're trying to eliminate a problem, but you're actually causing a different problem. So I think it's very important for the US here, and Phil can attest to this, is we need to continue to help people quit smoking. No matter what it is, a disposable, a tank, a pod, whatever it is, the main thing is to get them off smoking. If we get more people to quit smoking, then eventually we're going to win, right, Phil?
Yeah, I agree with that. It should be about not smoking. It should be about not getting cancer. It should be about not dying. That would be best, right? I know you just had a big talk about disposables. That's, I would say, 80% of what we see in the United States now. I have obvious mixed feelings about that. And if you want to talk about that, we could talk about that some more.
We miss still Nick here, but I see Todd in the background in a Modders gallery. I would do maybe a shout out.
Absolutely.
To,
yes.
Todd.
Todd, come here.
Mark Todd.
Yeah.
Come here.
So then we have another country with Scotland. And
sure.
Come here, Todd.
I have.
You sexy beast.
We even have Matt Cully right there, too.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to join here, Todd, then
yeah,
feel
Mark,
free.
come here.
Come on, Todd.
Come on. No, he's going to take his beer and he's going to run.
So special. I see.
Here he comes.
Come on.
All of you have heard also the planning from Great Britain. They want to spend 1 million e-cigarettes to smokers. Why is that not a worldwide role model?
So number one is the healthcare system. The healthcare system in England is very different than anywhere in the world. So obviously they want to cut down the costs of people getting sick from cigarette smoking and having to pay 20 years of treatment. Number two, England has something unique versus the other countries. England, as a country, came out and said, we want to eliminate smoking by 2030. That's our plan. Well, guess what? You can't eliminate smoking unless you have vaping. So that protects the product because they know without vaping, they cannot eliminate smoking by 2030. If every country would take that step, then vaping would be promoted instead of trying to be squashed like it is now, Phil.
You know, one of the things that I like to say in England, it costs the country money for people to be sick. In the United States, it makes the country money when they're sick. So they want to keep people sick. They make a lot of money that way.
So do you think also that the question is the money and not the health
Always.
or harm reduction?
Oh, I think you were talking about vaping worldwide. I think worldwide, that's the problem, right? Vaping impacts two of the largest money makers that there are, big tobacco, big pharma. they have the most to lose by what we've created here.
Yeah, but I see this stupid difference. If we talk about Australia, for example, they want to ban vaping or to shift it to the medical centers and so on, no longer free on the market. And then you have vice versa, Great Britain, they spend 1 million e-cigarettes. There is a real big gap.
Yes, it's a huge gap. It all falls back to the healthcare system. If the government is paying for the treatment, in America, we don't have this. In America, if you don't have insurance, health insurance, you're screwed. You go to the hospital, the bills are astronomical. So, but in Australia, in Britain, it's different. In Britain, if you're sick, you're going to go, the government's going to pay for you. And tobacco-related illness is a huge expense. People that have been smoking for 30, 40 years can be sick for another 10, 15 years dealing with COPD, dealing with heart issues, surgeries. That's a huge financial burden to the government. So because the health structures are different in Britain, this is why we're seeing the push there. More countries should be concerned about the health of its citizens instead of the money of the citizens. America is the prime example, yes.
And do you see a mind change or something for other countries? Maybe if Great Britain will be successful until 2030.
Well, we have a problem that Britain left the European Union, the Brexit. That's a big problem for us. But I think what we should do in the other countries, Germany included as well too, I think that we should invest more in the medical aspect of vaping. What do I mean by that? I think that we should reach out to the researchers from England, compensate them, do more studies that are country specific. In America one time, about 6 years ago, I was speaking at a state hall with politicians from all over the country. And I was trying to promote vaping. So I brought up the RCP report, the Royal College of Physicians report, nicotine without smoke. And one politician asked me from Indiana, he said, well, this is in England. What are we going to do in America? And I said, sir, with all due respect, our lungs, our tissue is the same here as it is in England. It's not different lungs. But I understand what they're saying. So I think this is what we should do. Reach out to the medical community in England, bring some of that data, the research, the scientific reports that we have, and implement them in every country. Then we can take these reports, go to the government and say, what the hell are you doing? People are dying. We need to rethink this issue and try to implement fair, reasonable laws.
But in the United States, what's more important? Do they truly care about the health of the public? Or do they care more about the dollars in their pockets? And I honestly believe it's about the dollars.
Sure, I agree that it's a lot about the money, but there's also ideology, you know? When they see kids vaping, automatically they think it's the new cigarette, right? They don't understand the harms of it. So I think it's more important for us to educate the harm aspect of a cigarette versus a vapor product. Then when they understand that, maybe it's easier for us to say, well, okay, we can come up with a money structure so you get your money as well too, but we're happy, we're not smoking anymore.
So again, I mean, I hate to sit up here and play devil's advocate, right? But we have how many years of data now? We have how many studies? We have how much proof that shows that vaping is safer than smoking, and still they want to shut it down?
Yeah, I just think it needs to be more country specific. We can't just say, oh, look at England. No politician will look to another country. Also, there's a pride, patriot thing. They're not going to look to England to get all the data and say, we're going to implement that in our country. I think that we need to do more within each country to prove that it's a safer alternative.
And what is the trend in Greek overall? So if we would also touch the crystal ball or something. You are both, I think, part of the market. You with your liquids, I think. I do not know if Phil is also still in the market with liquids and so on.
Yep. Yeah. We have unsalted.
The number one selling.
Watermelon peach is the number one best-selling flavor in the unsalted line, yes. And of course, we're with Innikin, and we have the platform line with Innikin.
Yeah. And do you see a future for this? So what do you think, what will be vaping in 10 years?
So I will tell you this. Yeah. I will tell you this.
Very curious.
And Phil is going to come in the end and supplement. Everything in vaping is trends. It's always one circle. Things become popular, then they drop. Something else becomes popular, then it drops again. Vaping is not going anywhere. It's going to change. Basically, disposables is cardos we were using in 2012, right? If you think about it, it's the same technology from 20.
Exactly.
We're implementing it right now. So I think that right now it's the hot thing, it's the hot item. But I think that people slowly, as they're beginning to vape, are going to look for alternative, better options, better tasting options, cheaper options, because that's what we did back in 2012. We started with pre-filled cartomizers, and then, oh, I can refill it myself. I think it's going to take some time. So I think, Phil, even you going back to your reviews, you've seen this vicious wheel of products that are coming out, but ultimately it comes back to the same.
Yeah, this industry, it does something very interesting. It follows trends, even when those trends are not in the industry's best interests. We've seen that over and over again. We saw that when everybody had cartoon characters on their e-liquid bottles, right? So maybe that's not in the industry's best interest.
Sub-ohming?
Sub-ohming, a lot of people like it, some people didn't. And again, maybe not in the industry's best interest, but they do it. They follow those trends. So I think it's going to come around. I hope it does come around. I hope for the future of smokers that it stays around for a long time. Vaping is not going to go anywhere. It's going to be here. It's going to be different in 5 years, in 10 years, but it's always going to be here. But I also think we need to be careful when we just throw out that term vaping. Okay? We need to talk about what we're doing, tobacco harm reduction, right? Because vaping now, especially when it comes to the disposables, in America, when you see somebody using a disposable, are they using tobacco harm reduction? Are they using a nicotine product? Are they using a CBD product? Are they using a Delta-8 product? Are they using a THC product? It's all getting munged together in vaping. I'm not anti any of that, but some people are. And I think we need to be careful. And I think we always need to remember what we do, at least here, is tobacco harm reduction. And it is to do this so that we don't die from cigarettes.
Also, don't forget, Dirk, my good friend, we have TBD3 coming. So we really need to take care and see what the proposal for TBD3 is going to be. And we need to be very aggressive versus the previous years where we kind of let these laws come in and the stakeholders didn't have access. Right now, until May 12th, there is an open comment period for the stakeholders in Europe to submit their comments of what TBD2 has done. I wish more people would participate, especially store owners would participate to form and sculpt TBD3. TBD3 is going to be the biggest challenge that Europe is going to be facing when it comes to vaping. I'm not against banning any product, even disposables. I want products to be on the market. I just want all of them. I don't want just some products that their European Union or the influence that big tobacco companies push to their European company to be available on the market. So right now is the time to take part in what's going to happen next year when we actually see the draft of the TBD3 come out and the amendments that are going to come from the big tobacco companies.
Yeah, but if you would take a look in the crystal ball, in 10 years, is the vapor market increasing or decreasing?
1,000% it's going to be increasing. Absolutely. And you know why? Because this generation, the new generation, is way smarter than what we used to be when we started smoking. When we were 15 and we took a cigarette, we weren't as smart. This generation has more access to information. They do their own research. They don't just listen to the TV or a few groups that say, oh, vaping is going to give you cancer, vaping is bad. So I think that there's no way that we're going to see a decrease in vaping. There's always going to be demand for nicotine. And now people understand that there's a cleaner, safer, and better tasting delivery option than cigarettes. So I think vaping is definitely going to continue to increase.
I think it's going to increase, but I think we need to be careful too. I'm kind of old school, passionate vapor. I got in this game so that I can get people excited to not smoke anymore, right? To convert from their cigarettes to a safer alternative, vaping. I never got into this game to get people who don't smoke and don't vape to become vapors, right? So I hope that that doesn't happen. I hope that when we talk about vaping is going to increase in the future, not because we're creating vapors, but because we're creating vapors from smokers. That's always something that I kind of battle with, especially when I see how many younger people are using disposables.
Yeah, but I mean, ultimately, I'll be the devil's advocate. If they're going to start, and people are going to start, if vaping is not around, they're going to start with cigarettes. So I would rather have vapor products. If somebody wants to experiment with nicotine, recreational nicotine, enjoyable nicotine, I'd rather they start with a vape product than they start with a cigarette. And this is why I think that vaping is going to continue to increase 10, 20, 30 years from now. And hopefully one day, in this ideal, perfect world that Phil is talking about, we don't see cigarettes anymore, then we've all done our job.
And especially in Greek, what is your impression from the government? Is that more positive or negative to vaping?
So right now it's kind of neutral. We do have some positive steps. We've been working with the government, especially since I moved back to Greece. I've been working with the trade association there. I'm the vice president of the Greek Trade Association. So we're trying to bring more education, try to mend a few of these bad laws. In 2016, they passed a law that taxed zero nicotine liquid at 10 cents per meal, which was just a stupid law that they passed. So I think that the government's right now neutral. They're kind of waiting for the TBD3 to come out as well too. But that gives us the opportunity for this next year to have meetings with the Department of Health, have meetings with the various testing facilities, have meetings with the Department of Finance, and try to come up with and sculpt a law that brings money to the government, but also allows this industry to flourish in a free market without creating a black market. So I think right now we're at a good standstill with the government. We're not seeing anything really, really bad, but we're not seeing anything great as it stands right now. But I think over the few years, as more data and scientific evidence comes out, I think it's going to get better.
I think there's a good chance that I might move to Greece because I don't see anything positive for vaping in America.
Yeah, America has the problem that we have products that have been approved by the FDA, given authorization, vapor, nothing flavored yet, tobacco only, but we have seen the FDA say this product is safer than cigarettes. And there's still pushback in America against this because of demonizing nicotine and smoking on the same equation. But again, I think even in America, at some point, the evidence is going to mount so much that even the people that are against it are going to have to back down a little bit because don't forget, history is there. And I don't think that anybody that's in public health in Germany or in America wants to look back and say 10 years ago, I made a mistake. So I think that times are changing. It might not happen overnight, but I think over a period of time, things will get better.
Okay. Thank you very much for this information. So to give it a little bit of an overview, what's going on in other countries.
Yes.
Maybe tomorrow we have Nick here on the stage or someone else from another country.
Maybe he'll make it on time. Yeah.
So I'm really interested how the trends are going.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I'm really convinced vaping will not die.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no chance.
We're on the same team.
I'm not sure if it will increase or decrease, but it will not die.
You're absolutely right.
No, it's not like we said. It could change. It could be different devices. It could be more disposables, less disposables, refillables, but it's not going anywhere.
Also, we'd like to thank, me and Phil would really like to thank the Hall of Vape. We want to thank you for hosting this. We want to thank the Hall of Vape. Ira personally is just a fantastic, every time we come here, it's just an amazing event. And we're more than proud and honored to be.
He's hiding.
Don't pull your phone out. We're very proud to be in Germany every year. The people here are fantastic. So we just, from the bottom of our heart, I think that we want to thank everybody.
We do appreciate the hospitality. Thank you very much for having us back.
So in regard of time, one last question from my side. What I'm missing in the vaping market is real new inventions or something, yeah? That we have really something new. Is it different in Greek or in US? Is there something new on the market?
I think that everybody wants this. This is the issue that we're having. Me and Phil, we design products for Iniken, obviously. And if Phil, you can talk about this extensively. We have submitted a lot of things that we believe as vapors, because we're vapors, could be very beneficial and tasty and some new innovation.
So what happens is, like, when we design and we think about things, I'm somewhere up here. The problem is up here costs money. And when you see what's popular these days, it's inexpensive, cheap pods, cheap disposables, cheap this. Anytime you innovate, even if you're changing the user interface on a device, well, that has to go through a whole process of development and costs and everything. And everything that you do to innovate costs money. And
Definitely.
It brings the price up. And then as soon as you bring the price up, if you're not in that modders gallery with all those beautiful, beautiful devices, people don't want it.
But I will tell you that me and Phil know that disposables will not be around forever. I can guarantee you that right now. I don't know how long it's going to be, a year or two. We saw in France last week, they made an announcement by the end of the year they might ban disposables. This might be a trend that we see in Europe in general. What me and I can't tell you details, but what me and Phil are trying to do with Anakin right now in our designs is, if disposables go away, how do we take this new crowd of vapors and put them into a product
Look who
that's
showed up.
easily. Yay!
Yeah, Nick is joining. A little bit late, but joining. So tomorrow, I hope you are a little bit better in time. I'm very, no blaming, but I'm really interested of your opinion.
I was really hungry. I had to eat lunch, and then
Forgot a little bit of time.
we got here. Okay.
Okay, then.
All right, thanks. Thanks, guys. We'll see.
I would say let's come back tomorrow for
Yep.
the discussion. Then also with your opinion, with your information from your country.
Yeah, tomorrow Nick's going to show up, but we're going to be missing tomorrow. We're not
They'll be late.
No.
Okay. So now we have to leave the stage in regards of time. Thank you very much. Thank you for the insights.
Thank you very much.
worldwide.
I'm glad I could
and
help
we will
out.
follow up
Yeah.
then tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Happy to be